Welcome to this video on getting started with the DevExpress Blazor Pivot Table component. The Pivot Table is a powerful data analysis tool that transforms lengthy tabular data into compact, interactive reports with summarized and grouped information. In this video, we'll cover the essentials: setting up your first pivot table and binding it to data, understanding fields and areas, the building blocks of data presentation, working with summaries and totals to aggregate your data. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a functional pivot table displaying aggregated data. So let's get started. First, let's set up our project. The easiest way to get started is to use the DevExpress Template Kit. I specify a project name, choose Blazor, Blazor Pivot Table, and click Create. The template kit creates a fully configured Blazor application with registered common DevExpress resources and pivot table packages and resources. The project already includes a sample page with a basic pivot table setup. Here you can see a pivot table markup. The pivot table is bound to an array of sale info objects. The sale info class defines our data structure with properties for order ID, region, country, amount, and date. The data is generated in the onInitialized method. We create sales records for 3 years across multiple regions, and the regions dictionary defines a hierarchical structure with regions as keys and arrays of countries as values. For each region, country, and year combination, we generate a random sales amount and date, giving us a comprehensive data set to analyze. Now let's run the application with our pivot table and explore its structure. The pivot table organizes data into 4 key areas. The row area displays fields vertically on the left. Here we have region and country. The column area displays fields horizontally at the top. Here we have year and quarter. The data area shows aggregated values at the intersection of rows and columns, showing amount sum and order count. The filter area allows filtering data without displaying it in the table. Currently, we don't have any fields in the filter area. Let's see how these fields are configured in code. We have 2 row fields, 2 column fields, and 2 data fields. Each field has 2 key properties. Field specifies the data source field name. Area determines where a field appears. You can also set up other field properties. For example, the sort order property defines sorting order for the region field. The regions are sorted in reverse alphabetical order. Users can sort fields interactively as well by clicking the field header. Let's take a look at column fields. Both of them use the date field, but have different group interval values, once for date year and once for date quarter. This creates a hierarchical time structure with years at the top level and quarters nested within them. Users can expand and collapse these levels to explore data at different time granularities. Note the quarter field also uses a value template to format the display, adding Q before the quarter number to make it more readable. Now let's focus on the data area, which contains the aggregated values we want to analyze. First, the amount field with summary type set to sum. This calculates the total sales amount. The summary type property defines how values are aggregated. Common options include sum, average, count, min, and max. The cell format property is set to C0. This formats the values as currency. The second data field uses order ID with summary type set to count. This counts the number of orders. The pivot table automatically calculates row and column totals and grand totals. Row column totals display subtotals calculated for field values that include nested values. In our pivot table, these are region row totals: South America total, North America total, Europe total, and so on. Row column grand totals display overall totals calculated against all rows and columns. The row grand total is shown at the bottom of the table, and column grand total is shown at the far right. You can control totals visibility and position. For example, to hide grand totals, I set show row grand totals and show column grand totals properties to false. For row and column totals, I change the position. Now we don't see grand totals. Column totals were moved to the top of each group. Row totals were moved to the left of a corresponding group. Great! Now you understand how the Blazor Pivot Table works, its basic structure with fields and areas, data aggregation with summaries, and customization of totals. The Pivot Table also supports full keyboard navigation for accessibility. Users can navigate between navigation areas, move focus sequentially through all focusable elements, and execute different actions like changing the sort order, collapsing and expanding groups, and applying filters. This makes the component fully accessible for users who rely on keyboard navigation or assistive technologies. You can find detailed keyboard shortcuts and accessibility information in our documentation. The link will be in the video description below. In our next video, we'll explore advanced features like grouping, filtering, and field customization in the UI to make your pivot table even more interactive and powerful. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more DevExpress tutorials, and you can find the complete source code in the video description along with links to our documentation and live demos. Thanks for watching, and thank you for choosing DevExpress.